Attention. Welcome to the Different Spectrums podcast. We dive into the wild world of mental health discussions. Get ready for profound talks, a sprinkle of humor and sarcasm, and a touch of colorful language. Just a quick heads up, our show reflects our individual opinions, which may not align with the standpoint of the podcast, our featured guests, or any related corporate entities. Our mission? To illuminate through laughter and satire because everyone needs a good chuckle. Chill out and don't stress over the small stuff. Legal troubles? No, thank you. Cancel culture? Please spare us. We'd rather keep this space lawsuit free. So buckle up, have a good time, and join us as we navigate the vibrant realm of mental health on the Different Spectrums podcast. Hey everybody, we back again.
We back and we're gonna be all right.
We gonna be all right.
Mm.
We gonna be all right. I'm Spencer, your co-host, and of course we have our licensed clinical therapist, Nas.
Hey, Dr. Nas. I'm happy.
Any other songs you want to get out there reference to?
That's the only songs I know. I know a lot of the songs, I just don't know the words.
Like, I can see them, but I can't hear them.
I can taste it.
That's a whole other topic. Remember, don't take us too seriously.
Or do, completely up to you.
There you go. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So, today we are going to be covering the 2024 film, Piece by Piece, the biography of Pharrell Williams. I just watched this film yesterday.
Oh.
And I was like, let's do this one. Because A, has to do with Legos. B, has to do with music. And then C, a little bit of neuro spicy in there.
It's a lot in there.
And a little bit.
Wow. Did you have anything planned to do before this one? Because this is a gem.
No, actually I did. But I was like, you know what? I want to do this one because it's pretty good.
Fuck so, yeah. Okay.
Went by that. So, some topics we're going to be covering today. We're talking about gifted children, being different, seeing sounds. We're also going to be talking about the different people in our lives that could, make us go into a whole different direction than what we were meant to do. Or maybe we were meant to do that the whole time. I don't know. I don't have the answers. And we're also going to be talking about just what it means to really find your voice and to really help others to be.
Yeah.
Nas, anything before we get to the show?
It's kind of Jesus, words nuts. It's kind of cool to see the autism in him and his friends, the neurodivergence. It's kind of cool to see the caregivers, the providers, the loved ones that pumped into him. It's kind of cool to see him struggle. He said, "Where you from?" "From the mud." "There's a mud. Where you got out the bottom of the mud?"
Something in the water.
Yes. I just love to see our people, our creative people, different people, awkward people, creatives. I love to see us succeed. People that have been shit on their entire lives, and then all of a sudden you get around these other people and you just get life, and then you give life back with his music, his creativity, right? His beats. To give life back is like a magical thing to do. So it's pretty dope, and much love and appreciation to him and his whole team. Much love to him. So let's have some fun today. I feel like we're going to top up some stories. Spencer's going to take it away, take the lead. They're going to put that thing on us. Why is it staying? All right, let's get into it. Don't worry about it. You take a shower.
No.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
You know what I always thought about? What's that? What if nothing's new? What if life is like a Lego set? And you can put them together whatever way you want. But you're borrowing from colors that already existed. Does that make sense? You know, it'd be cool is if like we told my story with Lego pieces.
Seriously?
Yes,
Lego.
yes. Just imagine all the color that could bring to it.
Sure.
Limitless color. This is the best way I can really be my purest self.
Yeah.
Without feeling weird.
Okay.
Man, I'm saying just be open. Just be open.
So what would you be wearing in this interview then?
Dad hat, t-shirt, shorts, on a yellow electric bike.
Okay. Moving on. Here's an easy question. Well, maybe it's easy, maybe it's hard. Where are you from?
I'm from the mud. Close to the fabled Atlantis. And it was born in a cloud with a silver lining. I just became obsessed with like water, you know, and like King Neptune. And voila. I feel like my obsession with water triggered something in me, different kinds of abilities. I don't know where it's from, but I knew I was different.
Really?
I've always grappled with that. See, maybe there was something wrong, and you weren't telling me no. See, maybe the laughs on me, and life was telling me a joke. I'm from Virginia Beach. The beach was less than a mile from Atlantis, a housing project where I grew up. The suburbs thought this was the hood, but really this place was magical. Hey, yeah. You just witnessed music bouncing off the walls. And the Blue Angels, they would fly over my housing projects. We lived in the crash zone. So we had the best view. You couldn't tell me that life was not amazing. And I loved music. Like everybody loves music, but I'm realizing I had a different kind of relationship with it. Like it was, literally was mesmerizing to me. I didn't even know that I was mesmerized. I just thought that's what all black kids did. I thought we all just stared into the speaker like, whoa. Looking back on when I was a little nappy-headed boy. I was seeing colors. It's called synesthesia. It's not something that you see with your physical eyes. It's something that you see in your mind's eye. Trying your best to bring the water to your eyes, thinking it might stop her from whipping your behind. All the Stevie music would do it to me. Beautiful hues of light cascading. It's those days, girl, come back for smoke. Why did those days ever have to go? 'Cause I love them so. I would just start the record over and start it over and over and over, doing whatever it took to continue to make it happen.
Man, he was way out there. Your must have got it from his mama.
Oh my God.
And me.
As parents from a project, we needed to be encouraging and tell him, like, you can do anything you want to do. People are able to accomplish things because they work hard at what it is that they do.
That's my mom.
We basically lived in the same neighborhood. We were kids, so it was like, hey, we're gonna ride our bikes to Mount Trashmore.
And I was the kid in the neighborhood with the skateboard. Odd child. He's odd. And that crushed my spirit. So I didn't know what the hell I was gonna do. Hold your head, little bruh. You're not dead, little bruh. You are brown and this world is black and white, little bruh. I know how it sounds, little bruh, but you'll be alright, little bruh. Yeah, yeah. I bet this song makes no sense to you. With the world on your shoulders, what can you see? God blessed us all with a gift to pursue. Just clear your mind and you'll feel like me, yeah.
I remember his grandmother telling him that she had a dream. Pharrell was lifted up. He was suspended in the air, way up in the sky among the stars. And she said,
God has given you a special gift, but to whom much is given, much is required.
You were made to amaze and bring change, little bruh. It takes one to know one, bruh. So here's one to going on, bruh. Yeah. Get your hands up. Come on, little bruh. Just shout it out. Come on. Just shout it out.
Were you making any music yet?
No, because I didn't take band in my first time in 7th grade.
I mean, like even singing or playing piano or anything?
The closest I came to music was lining my grandmother's pillows up off her couch and taking the cake mixer and a whisk, and those were my drumsticks. She saw that in me, and that's when, in the 7th grade, she got me a snare drum. So she started me on my path. My grandmother was the one that was like, listen,
When you go back to school, you should take music.
and that's when I met Chad. Chad understood colors and music, and we bonded on that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you. He's a friend of mine. It feels like something's heating up.
Both of them was kind of different. They was like little nerds.
Chad was always kind of quiet.
I mean, it's true. Yeah.
But to see the two of them do music together, it's like they read each other's minds.
We were just being ourselves and we were just having fun, you know?
Chad is literally like a savant. I've learned so much from him.
He was like, I met this kid named Chad. He has some music equipment at his house. We should go and check it out. We started going over to Chad's house, over the garage. I'm sorry, I have to say it. We skipped so much school. It was so bad.
Every day, we would create songs. Everything sounded futuristic.
Let's try this, let's try that. It's like the person who invented peanut butter and jelly. It's like a weird mixture. And if you can pull it off, it becomes something new and different. It feels good. I like that.
After that, we went crazy.
Every week we'd send up tapes and then he would market them around as best as he could.
5 to 10 new beats a week. And then I would then go around to the A&Rs, to the artists. I was sleeping in lobbies, whatever I had to do. Yeah, it could be like 5 minutes, we did the rounds. We met everybody that was somebody. And Pharrell was coming full throttle. Like, I'm coming for the crown, I'm coming for you, I'm coming for everybody. And once he turns on, you can't turn him off. It got really bad.
One exec holds a full-fledged conversation as we're performing.
In Air Force Ones, I'm strictly 13. 12 and a half won't work, man.
Pharrell gets on the desk, and I'm like, bro, why are you on the desk?
Yo, he has to see how hard I'm willing to go.
He was like this little brother that you want to knock upside the head. I had to have a talk with Pharrell. Like, he had no money. My unemployment ran out. We were all living with our parents. This was like everything I was banking on. I said, hey, man.
Yeah, what?
Like, we can't do that, man. You're gonna, like, kill yourself in this thing.
Yeah. But hey, I'm an artist.
But selling beats, that's a way to get in.
Okay, fine. At the time,
I chose to look at it the wrong way, to think that like I was being rejected. I didn't realize that I was being told to train harder.
Hey, Nori.
Hey, what's going on? It's Nori. Yep. What's your name? Morgan?
Yep, Morgan.
How you doing, Morgan?
Good. So I was just wondering, how did you know about the Neptunes? What was it like when you first met them?
I first met Pharrell because Rob Walker. And at the time, I had never heard of the Neptunes. 2 dudes, one Filipino and the other black from Virginia Beach. Come on, this doesn't even make sense. But they played me one beat, then he played me another beat. I remember I was on my way to Miami, and Pharrell said, this third beat,
don't listen to that until you get to Miami.
Why wouldn't I listen to this third beat? And he's like, yo, listen.
People take my beats sometimes, but people don't let me produce. I want to produce this.
No one had talked to me like that before, you know what I'm saying? It took everything for me in the world not to listen to track 3. I remember the hotel like it was yesterday. And that's when I actually listened to track 3 called Super Thug. I took a risk with these 2 kids from Virginia who had this totally different sound. But when you put our sound together, it's magnificent.
Hey, yo, we light a candle, run laps around the English Channel. Neptunes, I got a cocker spaniel.
I remember recording the original track of Super Thug. I would go, what? 1. That's how I counted my bars. I remember me saying, listen, all we gotta do is get the hook. And Pharrell saying, we got the hook. He kept me and just took out the ones. And I remember telling them, they're gonna laugh at me. And he said, you're gonna laugh straight to the bank. I just believed in this kid. I remember the album coming out, and all the DJs start playing the record. I remember bringing them to Jay. I remember bringing them to Nas. But everyone was a little skeptical because Pharrell purposely wanted to make hip-hop but not look like a hip-hop star. You know, it's like opening a bakery shop, right? For the first 2 months, the bakery shop is not doing good. And then you go and you tell everybody, this bakery shop is it. It's awesome. Then you travel somewhere and you come back and the bakery shop is all over. Everyone is just, they want these muffins, they want these cookies, they want these bakery cookies. And you get to say, I knew this was going to work.
When Super Thug dropped, everything changed forever.
Hello. We started getting the calls to work on this and to work on that and to work on this and to work on that.
The magic of the music business is how many times can you do it again?
How did Happy happen?
People are putting up their own videos. Yeah. It was like no longer my song.
Roll the tape of that. People started putting videos around the world getting happy. Makes me cry too. Makes me cry too. You know, I was just thinking about your grandmother. I bet she didn't even imagine that. No, it's beautiful.
Why am I crying all over?
Because I'm happy.
I love that song, but it turned into this other thing that I didn't see coming. People are singing and celebrating to highlight an emotion. But you realize why they feel that song. Because they've been through some shit. They've been through some shit. Whew. I felt that just now.
Bro.
People would say, your song got my mom through her chemo, or like, man, I play that song every day. It just made me feel better. It took a toll on me, though, just seeing so much pain. And boom, right after that, it got really dark. That's what changed my outlook on what it means to be black. I realized that you're black in juxtaposition to the entire system. This is literally what we think about every day. I remember finding these jazz vocal samples. And playing this chord around, every time you hear the da, it just felt like a rainbow of blue, murky water. And what Kendrick wrote to it was just poetic justice.
All's my life I has to fight. Yeah. All's my life I hard times like yeah. Bad trips like yeah. Nazareth, I'm f***ed up, homie, you f***ed up. But if God got us, then we gon' be alright. We gon' be alright.
Pharrell had the hook, and that's him on the hook.
We gon' be alright. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? We gon' be alright.
The all right phrase, what does all right represent? You know, there's a lot going on, and still to this day, a lot going on. It's something else inside of them chords that Pharrell put down that feels like a statement.
When our pride was low, looking at the world like, where do we go? And we hate po-po when they kill us dead in the street for sure. I'm at the preacher's door, my knees getting weak and my gun might blow, but we gon' be alright. 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 We gon' be alright.
We gon' be all right. That record, it kind of attached itself to every struggle.
You know, there's strength in numbers. And to inspire people to be aspirational, you don't just aspire up, you aspire left to right as well, because that's what creates a unified front.
Hey everyone, before we get into the show, please check out our collaborator, Bubs Naturals. They sell a variety of health and wellness products, including collagen peptides, MCT oil powder, coffee, apple cider vinegar gummies, and other amazing products. Go to bubsnaturals.com and use our code DSP20 to get 20% off your entire order. And with that, let's get into the show. And we're back again.
We're back. We're back and we're live. Just like my gout. It's back.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is it?
Lost my whole foot. Oh, random thing. Hopefully everything's okay. I heard some really sad news about Deion Sanders. I heard like he's really going through it health-wise, and like he's not at practice. So I brought up the foot thing because he almost lost his foot last season. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully his family's okay. I heard he was devastated, all the stuff that happened to his son in the draft, and like now there's some serious health issues. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Saw some people getting choked up today on ESPN, so hopefully everything's okay.
Hopefully.
Hopefully everything's
Shout
okay.
out to Dion, whole family.
Prime time.
And,
Prayers. Prayers.
Hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah.
And he can make a full recovery for whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
So.
Yep. Let's get in it, Spence.
All right. So we are doing the film Piece by Piece, the biography film of Pharrell Williams. And it's all in Lego. Which, for this show, it's bread and butter right there. That's like,
what are you trying to say? What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people?
Nothing. I meant nothing by
that. Okay.
Yeah. Autistic people don't like Legos at all. Fucking hate them. That's what I heard.
I like the green ones.
Just the green ones. Okay. Good for you. But yeah, so this is pretty much his whole life, all wrapped up in this film. And the first scene that we go to is him just showing just how different he is and how he just loves the water. Like it was just part of him from the get-go. Now, you could say like this was because of where he's from, Virginia, because they always say that something's in the water, because you just have so many talented people that are actually in Virginia. And it's looked at as one of those places where you don't think like, this will be like where all of like the top people in hip hop and just music for the next 30 years are coming out from. Didn't see that coming. But it's one of those things where he just sees himself as this quiet but creative child. Um, I think also for this film, um, he's said this throughout his career. There's a NERD album called Seeing Sounds, which already goes with the theme of this movie. But he also had his opening track called Time for Some Action, um, where he actually talks about going into the shower on these hot days and sitting in there, and then he would just see the sounds. Um, it's very interesting to see that even though like years and years later, because that album came out in like 2003, that this long he still has that and it's still such part of him, which I was surprised at, to be honest with you, because I didn't think he would still kind of have that memory of what happened with him and his synesthesia. Because some people who kind of had these like diagnoses, especially guys like at this caliber of what he is, they don't talk about that
Nope.
at all. But I love the openness that Pharrell has really had throughout this film. And yeah. So for the first scene now, what were you thinking? What were you like, oh, this is interesting. Oh, I didn't know he made all of these beats. Like, what the hell's going on here?
So
what were you thinking?
I knew some of the beats. Yeah, definitely knew a lot of them. I guess I didn't realize how it started. And so, did you know that he had synesthesia or no? Because I didn't know that until just now, even though I'm sure I've heard the lyrics.
Just based off of his song and just seeing sounds.
Okay.
And
You're like,
how his
okay,
creative
okay.
process is. I'm like,
interesting.
he's got
Interesting.
something.
Okay.
He's got
okay.
something.
So we did a podcast on it a while ago. That was the Ratatouille scene. Long time ago, we did that, the Ratatouille, where he's like, I can taste it and I can see it and blah, blah, blah. And the taste makes me feel blah.
Yeah.
We did that because a client of mine wanted me to do it because that was like their favorite scene because they're like, hey, that's me. And then no one else would ever say that's her, right? I mean, she was the only one that could taste, sense, and smell and see things, which was kind of dope. So we see him with this divergence in the brain, which is kind of fucking cool. And as a young boy, obviously he's different. And they see it throughout the film. Spence said, like, he's dressed as different. Then Jay-Z was like, who's this guy who's like, you know, hip hop, but he dressing funny with a trucker hat and all this. Right? He's just always different. He's in hip hop, but also dresses very alternative, very nerd. Like, I love to see it. Right. You see this stuff where it says, I got it out the mud, or I'm from the mud. Where are you from? The mud. And so that's a big expression, big colloquium, right, in rap, and also just black and brown cultures. It should be noted that, you know, mud could mean poverty, mud could mean dirt, but also should be noted that racist people, doesn't matter what version, but mostly white people, will say they're mud people, meaning dirt, or black people, poor people. And you're like, oh, you want to go look it up? Look it up. It's in documents where multiple racist folks have said it that work for Bank of America. And they were sued and litigated against for not letting black people and brown people get loans. And they were calling them mud people in it. So I think that's interesting to take those terms and turn them for ourselves, right? Turn the tides where I got it out the bottom of the cereal box. People will say, out the mud. I love that. I love when I love stories like this, even though we know these stories aren't that common, Spence, where people actually make it. Because like I bet you they were about to crash out when they were broke and all that. We'll get into it later.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see this. It's magnificent for like the culture and the fact that he's doing it with these Legos and just different. Who does a fucking biography, a biopic, Spence, with Legos? Let's be real. Even that is different. The entire introduction scene that you wanted to shoot is different. And I think that's a magnificent way to relate to a lot of us on the podcast that are neurodivergent listening to this. All of you magnificent listeners, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you. We wouldn't be doing this if we wouldn't have had the higher numbers in which we had the past couple of years, but it allows us to keep pushing through. You know, me and Spence have been exhausted for like the last 6-7 months. Much appreciation. So we get this cat, man. He's making this music, Spence. And you're like, I get it now. I get why his music is so different. It's just so fucking different.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people love Pharrell. I've always loved Pharrell. Always.
Oh, yeah. He's always had great songs, and like he's produced so many people. Him and Chad. I can't just say him because
Yep.
it's him and Chad for the
Respect.
Neptunes, which we'll get into Chad in a minute. But with him and Chad, they both have done an amazing job of just not only keeping people like relevant, but then also just giving such a futuristic sound that that we never heard from, and people still can't capture what they did today. So it's all respect to them because they did such an amazing job with all these different artists and songs. So.
Magnificent. One of the scenes that stuck out, Spence, is when he was, listening to music, and he's talking about music after they do all the introduction to the scene and the background. Before I forget, I love that he's playing his neighborhood is like magical, vibrant, colorful, and music filled. So the projects are the ghetto and gross and gangbangers, crime, murder, death. And I think that's how a lot of Americans look at it, right? Where people will be like, "Oh no, is this the hood?" And I'm like, "Homie, this ain't the hood. Let me take you down yonder and down Flint and Saginaw, Michigan, motherfucker. This the hood. This shit ain't that." My dad, we was over in Indianapolis going to see the doctor. Like, man, I don't know, man. It's the hood here. I said, this ain't that bad, my guy. This ain't that bad.
People say the same shit about Minneapolis.
I know.
Like, you're fucking insane. No, it's not,
brother. You don't know what the hood is, my guy.
No, just because you have more black people around doesn't make it the hood. Just throwing that out there.
My God, I tell people, I'm like, I'm moving to Detroit one day. I can't wait. They're like, that's the hood. I'm like, not all Detroit is hood. I'm not buying a $10,000 house, my guy. Like,
right. Like, I got it. I got the house.
People so racist, bro. It's so racist. So I love that he painted his community in vibrant ways, in loving ways, passionate ways, music and creative ways, which leads to him as a little kid.
Yeah.
Turning on, that was Stevie Wonder, he said, or was that Earth, Wind, and Fire? That was Stevie Wonder.
That was Stevie Wonder. Yep.
That Stevie Wonder jam was the shit, boy. And he's just zooming out and just autistic as shit, just stemming. He said, I would just play that record over and over and over. And he's just visualizing it and like literally breathing it in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's becoming one with the music. So I guarantee you, some of you with music, it affects your like body, physiology, neurology, your soul. It just teleports you to a different place. Sometimes you feel certain things in your body. And that is a wonderful thing of being like neurodivergent, where music can transport you, especially the really good ones. So I thought that was cool. I don't know if you saw that. Like, I know you saw that as a kid. That to me looked like straight up just pure stimming and pure just joy. Stimmy joy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Gotta love it, man. Yeah, just crazy. Like, you just never know how people are made or created. And a lot of us are just so reserved, and like, you never get to see these interesting little peccadillos and how their neurology, their brains.
Right.
And people will be like, wow, man, there's no one like me that does this or likes this music or this or that. And I'm like, they're everywhere.
Which I find odd now. Like, I think back then, because you didn't have the internet.
No.
All you had was finding people around you, and hopefully they liked what you liked. But, there was always that chance that nobody did. So then now you're kind of doing everything solo dolo. And that's when I think bad things start to happen. Once you get that solo dolo and you don't find your people.
The depression, that isolation.
Yeah. And thankfully for him, he, because he was kicked out of school because he had shitty grades.
Oh.
He was kicked out of school. He had shitty grades, and his mom, or he didn't want to go back, but his mom was like, or no, he had a grade to where like he could pass to the next grade, but his mom was like, no, you're going back because you can do better. Like, you are very smart. You can do better. I think also a thing that we should talk about is his parents as well. His parents very supportive of him, even though he might have been like an odd child during that time. He was, they still loved him for who he was and still wanted to make sure that he could do things, whatever he wanted to do, even though they might not have approved of everything they wanted to do.
Fully understood either, but I didn't fully understand this little fucking kid.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I thought that was a cool part that they had in the film as well.
I love seeing it too. The supportive parents in there, right? That's pretty dope. Yeah, especially because it's black parents too. You just want to see it because they paint black folks so horrible in the world, dude. It's bad.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's bad.
Yeah.
Well, so what you were just saying, like, the isolation and all that shit. So a lot of autistic neurodivergent people feel that. Kind of leads us into the next scene where, he might, all you need. You need one Filipino. That's it.
Just one Filipino in Virginia.
You just need one Filipino, change your whole life. You need,
yes.
What do Filipino people eat?
Food? What the fuck?
I don't know. What's their main dish? You just need one Filipino to fill you up.
Rice? I don't know.
I don't know what they
I
eat.
don't know.
Is
I'm
it fried?
guessing.
I don't know. Is it sauce?
Fried rice. Yes.
What's that, man?
Jesus
One of those, that version of Asian folk? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Never
Hamburgers.
Hey, he could be American. He could be. He had the whole Filipino.
He's Filipino American, so
he's true.
Yeah.
He's true. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Change your whole life. Diversity. He's a DEI.
One Filipino.
That's a DEI friend right there.
Yeah. Yeah. He was like, God damn, found one.
Why is this Filipino in an all black neighborhood? That's the real question. Probably CI plant, that some bitch. CI plant.
Christ.
CI plant.
Yep. Oh no, Chad.
He's a plant.
No. Chad, no.
Chad, no. Get you a Chad, people. All right, Spence, the next scene, let's get into it. A lot of stuff in this scene. A lot of stuff.
Yes. So it begins with his grandma taking him to church, and because he wasn't finding his way. He wasn't finding his way. He didn't know what was happening in his life. But then he had the guidance of his grandma. They both go to church. And then pastor, feels like the pastor singing to him. And his grandma had this vision of him just floating up in the air above everyone else. It's like, well, all right. God, you start floating in the air and you come back down. We're so fucked.
Fuck you, Jim. Fuck you, man. When your fat ass come back down, you want to kill somebody.
Oh my God.
Is that Shamu?
Oh, look, he's flying.
The Michelin man? Nail.
Right. Stay puffed marshmallow man. No.
What's that shit from? Fucking, is this the alien movie? The fucking Ghostbusters? Is this a motherfucker from Ghostbusters?
That's Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, you
saying. Like,
asshole.
are we in Ghostbusters? You gonna start shooting me with a laser? Why are we making fat jokes about me right now? Let's get back
You're
to the
making it
scene.
against yourself. I'm just saying. I'm just adding on to what you're saying.
Fat people do love too, people.
Yep.
I'll let you taste me for the Ghostbuster thing.
So you just do it to yourself. You just do it
No
to
one can do it like I can.
yourself. God. Anywho, we're at this church.
At the church,
scene.
the pastor, the mom, the grandma.
Yes, and then the music is blaring.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he sees this fish that we saw in the first scene, where I think that's where he says, like, maybe this is like his either safe place or it's him just really connecting to this world that he's now in. And he feels like this pastor is talking to him. And then later in the movie, the pastor actually does give him advice about just life in general, because he was very lost. And that's also a good theme of this movie too, is that he's very lost at a lot of points in this movie.
All of us.
And, whether he's very successful, but yet he's unhappy, or he is, a weird black kid in the hood, and he doesn't have friends there. Either way, he's always lost in this part. And I think a lot of people can really resonate with that, whether they are from the hood, black, whatever. Like, you feel like you are different in some way. And so I feel like people really resonate with that. But what about this church scene for you, Nas, spoke to you? I know you've talked about it in the past, about how the preacher or pastor has told you, like, hey, you're gonna do great things.
Yeah, I know, man. So that was wild, man. Mom would always take me to church, or grandma would take me to church. And, you know, that's when they'd be pinching you and shit because you'd be asleep. You know, I mean, waking you up, slapping you in the head. You're like, huh?
Slightly different.
Yeah. How you gonna slap me and God watching, girl? Damn.
I didn't do it.
I ain't doing it.
I'm just building Legos. What?
Church was so long. For an autistic ADHD kid, it's so long.
Yeah.
But you're sitting in there taking in the gospel, man. And like he's hearing things and listening, and he feels like the preacher is talking to him. And that's not just him. Like that's a lot of people that are religious or that hear them listen to music or whatever it is. They feel like it's speaking to them. Mm-hmm. And like even when I'm watching this, Spence, I feel like it's speaking directly to me or into me. A lot of good vibes, a lot of good stuff. A little trauma vibes too. But I remember Mom, when she'd be in some good moments, she would sit me down and like gas me up about the potential, my creativity, my heart, my intelligence. I'm like, I'm smart, but I've been expelled from all these schools in elementary. I keep getting expelled. Like something's wrong with me. I don't think I'm normal, Mom. And so always being labeled the different one, the weird one, the awkward one, right? The little creative kid, little fucking kid that's bouncing off the walls. The one that everyone thought that was just a terrible little monster because I'd just be beating people up. Like I'd be terrorizing people, dude. It was bad. The sociopathy was intense back then. But Mom would have her moments where she could just sit in it when she wasn't like triggered or having like an emotional outburst, or she wasn't, you know, drunk. And she would just be like, you got it, kid. Out of all my kids, you're the one that's got it. And you're going to do great things. And so I felt like that with the grandma. She sees these visions. Mom said she would have these visions of me. And it felt really good. And then your dad gets out of prison, and now it's like, it's no longer just visions. It's like, we're doing this. Well, I'm not going to contemplate you possibly being good. We're about to do this, kid, and you need to strap it fucking on, and we're going to do it. We're going full front, full blown, I said full front.
Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of sexual innuendos in there.
You just want to do so many, like you stumbled over your words of which sexual innuendo you wanted to use.
I know. I kind of feel like the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the little weird nerdy one that says all the sexual shit all the time. What's his name? His best friend. Sam Burglar's friend. I forgot.
Sam Burglar.
Sam Burglar. I don't know.
Who the fuck is that?
That's his name. Andy Sam Burglar. It's Sam Berg. I call him Burglar. It's whatever. It's probably
we're friends. It's fine.
It's fine. We know each other.
We cool. Cool.
Great moments. And I know in church, man, people can get those vibes. And right, we touched on a little bit of religious stuff in the last pod that we did with Win Lose with Spence. And I think it's not a bad thing to talk about. I feel like a lot of people get that really good healing. And it could be through the music, it could be the community. I set a lot of people up to go to the community in the church, man. Just love that scene. I love, just moms, man, grandmoms, man, just stepping up and making sure you love your kid. I just love it. Especially for like this little neurodivergent, nerdy kid. We opened up the scene with, I just feel so different. And he's just like, I fucking hate this. Yeah. And grandma's like, come here, baby. Which leads us into like some of the next stuff, Spence, where like he starts jamming out and like actually figuring out some creativity. So what was going on with that? What, right? Because he didn't have no instruments, no money, and then homeboy just starts peeling out the pillows. I was wrestling with pillows and throwing them at people. I wasn't playing drums on them,
Yeah. No, you weren't.
No.
With a whisk and like a spoon.
A spatula or some shit, yeah.
Whatever. Fucking he just started doing the beats, and then you see like every time his creativity comes out, like all of a sudden these sparkles start coming out.
Yeah,
that's the sounds that you see.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yes. And so he sees that, and then this was the intro to Senorita, Justin Timberlake, because he produced most of that album by Justin Timberlake. And he started doing that, and his grandma comes with the idea, like, next time, hey, when you go back to school, do the band. And
I know there ain't no black kids in there, but take your ass in there, honey.
All black kids in there.
It's probably all black kids there.
What the fuck are you talking about?
It's all Filipinos?
He literally met like Timberland, Missy Elliott.
He did.
Pusha T, all in school. Like
all school.
It's a black school.
It's black as hell. It's so black, it's the blackest. It's a throwback.
It's the blackest.
It's the black.
But
ain't no diversity in there. Well, there is.
Jesus fucking Christ. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry.
Shut the fuck up. Jesus. Let me say this. Holy shit. Gotta fucking get through all these long ass scenes.
You do it.
And you're like, bam, 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 bam.
Do it.
God damn. If you were like a fucking voice right now, you'd be a trumpet. You know that? You just bam, bam. Nothing's coming out.
It's a synesthesia. It's a synesthesia.
All right. And with Chad, they meet and he sees that he finally found a friend who sees the sounds like he does, sees the colors. And they just vibe and they start making all this great music. And then all of a sudden, all these Virginians, we'll call them that, come together and they go into Chad's his room or his house, and they just start making music together. And it's literally like some of the top people in music that come together to just make some sounds, and that's just how easy it was. And they would just skip school and just fucking play music.
Wild.
This is also I don't want to say like don't go to school and stuff like that. I'm not gonna say that because I think people need to go to school, get educated, all that shit. But for some people, school is a barrier for them, and it's not going to do much. With Pharrell, he's one of like a billion people that this works for.
Yep.
There's not a lot of people that can do what he did.
Yep.
Not graduate, not go to school and become such a successful mogul in everything that he does. But I think it's a great story of him being able to not have to do all that and still be an educated individual because he took time to still want to be educated. Just because you don't go to school doesn't mean you can't educate yourself on certain things. And that's not an excuse. Just saying like you didn't go to school, well, then I'm just not going to learn anything. Then you're not really helping society out as a whole, in my opinion. You kind of have to learn and you have to try new experiences, or else you're just going to get stuck in the same place you've always been.
You will. You got to better yourself, better your family, better your life. And education is always one of the best determinants of bettering yourself and your family.
Yeah. And it works out for a lot of people, and it doesn't work out for some people. There are a lot of people that haven't gone to school and, got a diploma or anything like that. They've done a lot of great things. But just remember, that's not always the case. It's not always going to be you. So
I think one of the big things to think about is like you're looking at school and like him like really struggling, and like you fucking hated school too, right? And then but there's some neurodivergent minds where you can feed and foster them in other ways and creative ways, and so they'll still do the school, but there's other things that pull them in. So for him, creative minds like that, I guarantee you they didn't have a fully funded like great music or band or art or creative things, and there's no way. I went to these poor ass schools that were all black and brown, and you got nothing. It's bare bones. And so how do you feed these minds so that they do stay in the education system and also make sure that they stay different, and you don't foster them to be this fucking homogenized thing that you make everyone come out to be? How do you make sure that their soul and their entity doesn't die? If so many neurodivergent folks are the creators and the leaders of this world. And so he finds a good friend in Chad. That made me think about me and you, man. Just fucking day one vibe. Day one vibe. It was just, and it's some people like me and you are just lucky to just meet magnificent people. You met some magnificent people in your life. I've met some magnificent people. So maybe it's our personalities that draw those people in. But like when you meet those people, it's so precious. And it's interesting with like, even with dating. So I'll have clients that like, they'll find like this magnificent person that heals their soul. And And they'll be like, but I want to do this or I want to do that, or, maybe I want to fuck around a little bit more. And I'm like, you don't find people that like soothe your soul like that. I'm just like, maybe you should like get over whatever shit you're going through and maybe go like tackle that. And they're like, well, and I'm like, don't fucking lose out, my guy. Shooting star. Why do I say this? People like me and Spence, very lucky. To find good people, very lucky. Pharrell to find Chad. And Chad, which introduced him to all the music even more and his savantness, his genius.
Yeah.
There are people out there for you that you can match with. So I say this wholeheartedly with the honest to God truth. There are people out there for you to talk to vibe with, to connect with. Please, please, please go out and find them. Please, please, please. I just want to make sure we said that because Chad, they saved each other's lives. They made each other's lives magnificent. What, did Chad being a shit or no?
No, they both they just they're not on speaking terms anymore.
Oh no, for real?
Yeah, because Chad's suing Pharrell because he wants like more rights to the Neptunes because he had a lot to do with a lot of the production and stuff like that. So it's
never trust no one. So that's what we come back to. Eventually, everyone will betray you.
It's like, see, look, they're friends. Oh, fuck.
God damn it, Spence. It is what it is.
Money, I know, you're going to find out one way or another. Somebody in the comments would have been like, they're fucking hate each other now, just so you know.
Money pollutes everything. There you go. Those fucking Filipinos.
Once again, they got us. I don't think any of them are bad in this situation. I think they both just want like the even cut of what they've been doing. And
what they feel like is theirs, yeah.
Yes. And I think that especially since Chad is the quiet one and Pharrell's the outspoken, the quote unquote band leader and stuff like that. I think Chad could be overlooked a lot.
I guarantee you. I didn't even know he existed, Spencer. Didn't even know he existed.
That's the problem. And so Chad is this like genius also, and he doesn't get the credit he did. I mean, even I can go back, and there are a lot of people that just don't get credit, especially in the music industry, anything you do. But one in particular that I remember is Rod Temperton. And you probably don't even know who the fuck that is. You're like, who is that guy? He wrote Thriller. Like, he wrote the song Thriller for Michael Jackson. He was a drummer for this band called Heatwave, which is an amazing band. And he wrote songs for them as well. He was this amazing songwriter. And nobody knew who he was because he was a quiet guy. And after he made all these hits for Michael Jackson, he was like, I'm out. I'm just gonna be quiet and live my life silently until he died. And he was one of those guys where you're just like, this guy is an amazing genius, but yet he doesn't get the credit that he is supposed to get, because he's not loud and he's not outspoken like some of these other people that make music, which is fine. You can be loud and outspoken.
You can.
But also, I gotta also give credit where the quiet guys are, because I've been there, quiet guy, been there, and like you put input into certain things, and then you don't get the same response and as some of the louder people, and so it is what it is.
Interesting point. So a lot of neurodivergent folks will be the quiet guys or the quiet girlies, and so I got a couple clients now saying not, and they're saying this with full-blown tears, Spence, is why can't I just be assertive? I just need to be assertive and I'll get the jobs with the respect I need. Why can't I just be confident? Why do I always got to be so shy and so quiet? Why can't I just say things in public? Why can't I just ask or demand things? Why do I let people shit on me? And they'll be so angry at themselves for not being like this certain person, but that's never going to be who they are. And they don't need to be that person either. Who they are is magnificent, but that little magnificentness doesn't always get seen or acknowledged. Or when she asks a question, he asks a question, right? It's not always, oh, that was good. And then someone else asks again, that was really, and my kid's like, I fucking said that.
Been there.
I know. And so you made me think about that, right? Some of the Chads, man, is they get looked over or looked down upon, not chosen for maybe jobs or this and that, right? They're not chosen for dates, partnerships, because they're reserved, shy, quiet, right? Or maybe they just don't need to say a lot of things. I got people that struggle with that, Spence, that are magnificent humans, and they are miserable, and it sucks. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
So good point. It's sad to hear about that Chad thing. I did wonder that when I was watching though, because I don't even know who this motherfucker is.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have introduced him a little bit more in your songs, Pharrell.
It's Chad, y'all. And I hope one day they can reconcile and they can.
They probably will,
because they've made so much great things together that you just hope that people like that get back together and they can be friends again, because they both grew up with one another.
Come on,
and they've
brother.
done so much.
Yep.
So it's like, I hope they can both get
Reconcile.
back together and do things, but we'll see. Time will tell.
At least when they're old. Yeah.
So
Interesting. So, never trust no one.
No. I don't know if that's the point we wanted to make there, but all right.
That's how it turned. How it turned. I think this leads us into some really some the deeper stuff now in scene like 3 and 4.
Yeah. So for the third one, it really starts off. So Pharrell, he's been trying to get their band NERD. They've been trying to get their band out into the world, but studio execs, they all think it's just weird. It doesn't sound like the music that it does now. They're like, well, we want music right now. We don't want music in the future. Like, why would we want that? And there's a common theme here when like a lot of these quote unquote weird artists try to go to these execs and try to show them like just how great their music is that they're making. They always get blocked by the personality that comes through the door. Now with Pharrell, he was very out there. He was like, I'm the shit. I'm stopping on death. I'm the shit. Like, you want to be part of this. You want to be part of this. And it goes back to even Kanye West, who, whether you like him or not, that dude has come a long way in his lifetime to be what he is now. And you'd be like, oh, piece of shit. I'm like, no, no, to each their own. Anywho,
he's a Nazi now.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
We all go through changes.
Who the fuck takes a black Nazi serious? Has anybody actually taken that serious?
I'm not even going to comment on this because I feel like this is a landmine. So this is a landmine.
I'm just saying.
I got you.
See a black Nazi, you're like, that's funny. Like,
these two don't add up. But
where's Waldo?
Steering away from this conversation. This is the only conversation I feel weird about. In 3 years.
Talk about dicks and shit. Now you get weird about black Nazis.
It's Pride Month. You can talk about dicks right now if you want to.
Oh, see, there you go. I'm gonna put my mic up for this. Because it's black. Anywho. But there's this common theme where, like with Kanye West, when he was trying to get his music out there, he would go into all these different exec offices, just play his music and be loud and outrageous. Obviously, the trajectory for Pharrell and Kanye went in both two different directions, but the minds, like the geniuses and the minds of how they tackle music is something you can't deny. And sometimes it's hard to get people to actually see your vision because you're new and you're up and coming and they don't know who you are. They think like you're just some weird kid just trying to sell them something. And they don't understand, like, you should get in on this now because this train's leaving pretty soon. And I just find it interesting with this scene because they all keep on rejecting. And even Chad and his new manager are like, dude, you're jumping on desks and all this shit. Like, what are we supposed to do with that? He's a weird dude. And the only reason how he even got into where he is now is because he started, and this is what Kanye did too, he started giving away his beats to other people. And then they started seeing it, and they're like, wow, this guy can actually do stuff. This is so weird. And then that's when the doors started opening, because he started giving these beats to each and every artist. It first started with Nori, then it started to go to Jay-Z, then it started going to No Doubt with Gwen Stefani, and all of these different people. There's literally a scene where it goes artist by artist by artist, and he has all these different people that wanted beats from him, and they got them, and they were all hits. Justin Timberlake, Busta Rhymes, all of them. And it just goes to show that people find things weird at the time until it gets them something, whether that's money, whether that's fame, whether it's whatever. I think people look at others harshly until all of a sudden now everybody else starts seeing it too. Like if it wasn't for Nori and a lot of these other artists, people might have not known who Pharrell Williams or even the Neptunes are. And once you have a vision as an artist, you have that vision and you know it's going to get there. But others just don't see it at the time. And he made them see it.
Spence, so we were talking in the pre-production where you said the sad part of the thing is he lost himself. And what were you talking about? So could you explain that? Because obviously he was hustling, selling this thing. He almost gave up on it, and then obviously sold some of his beats, and then became this mega star slowly. And then he became, and then eventually like things change and they pervert and they pollute. So what was that you were trying to explain? He like lost himself. What was that about?
Yeah, so there's a part in the film where like these execs start coming in and they start telling him what he should be putting out there as an artist. And he starts going to like try and be what's on the radio and what he should be doing. Like, oh, I got a song for chicks on the radio. I got a song for this on the radio, this. And one of the executives for the bit, like, who was a big time CEO, was just like, it's not that great. And this is years and years after he's been so successful, won awards and things like that. But you start seeing that he's lost the passion for what he does. And he's old. And then I think that really affected his like love life with his wife. And it just affected him overall because he was no longer doing it to be a creative. He was doing it to try and be popular. Those are two different things. Once you try to be popular and you just try to be relevant, that's when you start to really lose yourself. And we've seen that with
a lot of people,
everything that we've ever, everything. Like people on social media, like a lot of the people that try to stay relevant do stupid shit.
They do.
Because that's all they have. They just want to be the next exciting thing again and again and again. And that really tears you down as a person, and you're no longer yourself. You're now whatever corporate machine you have to, be a part of to keep on going.
It's gross.
Yes. And he found that out. And then that's when he started reconciling not only with his wife, actually it was his girlfriend, and then she became his wife after that.
Nice.
And then that's when he made the song Happy for Despicable Me.
Oh my God, that was for Despicable Me?
You didn't know that? Yeah. It was Despicable Me.
Probably one.
Yeah, it was one.
Yeah, one or two. Yeah.
No, it was one. It was one. He did the whole soundtrack, or he did most of the soundtrack for the first and second one. There were some really good songs on the soundtracks. Yeah. So
interesting. So before we move on and we get into like Happy and all that, I think it's to point out, and this isn't just a neurodivergent thing, is that we talked about it with the podcast that released a couple of weeks ago with Dr. Han Ren. And when you start to lose yourself in the corporate and capitalism, it takes over because you want to make money, you want to stay relevant, popular, famous. And boy, when you got too many hands in the pot, they call it, right? The metaphor, right? Too many hands in there cooking in the kitchen and all that shit. It's crowded. You get confused, you get overwhelmed, overstimulated. You start to lose your identity. You're starting to mask and to assimilate, to acculturate into things, and you give up your soul to be acceptable, to fit in, to be agreeable, to be a cookie cutter thing in which could be seen in the news, the radio, the media, friends, for dating, for Tinder, right? For what? For interviews, right? You start to hide all the divergence. You start to hide all your magicalness, your spark, your creativity. And the world forces you to hide those things because, you know, the what he's talking about. So I think it's just interesting on how you can apply it to our lives day to day. Is when you start getting input and you're consulting, like, oh, what should I do for this? Or how should I dress? How should I look? You know, what do you want to do for like the eating or your diet or your body? How should I show for these interviews? I have people that ask, like, they'll ask me 100 people about their resume, their personal statements, or this or that to get jobs, graduate school, and all that. I said, kid, you asked too many kids. Is it when is it you? Have you lost your voice in this? There's a funny, stupid TV show called The League about fantasy football. And there's this one guy, he goes around asking everyone about his lineups, to which lineup to start. And they're like, you fucking slut. He just asking everyone. And it makes me think of that. When you ask too many people now, man, now it's not even you. And it's hard not to do that. I feel like it's a slow progression when you start to give up your soul. And we see a lot of content creators be miserable as fuck. I see a lot of content creators like, hey man, I just want to talk about like cool stuff, fun stuff. And then, but whenever they don't talk about autism or whatever that specific thing is, Spence, they get no likes, no feed. And so now they're addicted to the machine. They can only say what the algorithm wants them to say, and they end up losing themselves. And a lot of my homies that I know on the internet, a lot of people that we've interviewed are pretty depressed because they're trying to hustle that money. God bless them. But they're hustling that money, they end up hustling themselves.
Right.
And it's sad. So I want to talk about that, content creation, us, life, school, right? Teachers are telling you this, and you're like, come on, man. Just interesting. FYI this scene, then we can move it to the next. Shout out to motherfuckers getting their money and putting their soul into things and just betting on themselves. You need a lot of luck to get put in front of Jay-Z one day and all of a sudden he's like, holy shit, this is the beat. Yeah. Shout out to people that don't quit and they will die on that hill. I'm sure many people end up dying on that hill, but I'm sure a couple people climb to the top. If those of you that are creatives that are out there hustling, drawing, creating, writing, do your thing. Maybe you're one of the first kids to get your degree in your family, a PhD, doctorate, maybe just graduate fucking high school, like means trade school. Do it. Bet on you. Please, please, please. Let's get into this last scene. Let's talk about this emotional ass song, Happy, because that shit saves some lives, dude.
Yeah. So the origin of the song was studio that does Minions Illumination. They wanted him to do the soundtrack for it, and he kept trying to give them songs over and over again. They kept rejecting his songs because they didn't like him. It wasn't catchy enough for him. They just didn't want him. And one day he was just bathing like his son Rocket, which I thought was interesting, especially since he actually has a Lego set with a rocket and stuff, and he loves outer space.
Oh yeah, isn't that his own Lego set? Like they made that for him, didn't Lego? Yeah.
Yeah, that's his own thing.
Yeah,
which is it's pretty dope Lego set too. But yeah, so he was just like bathing his son, and then all of a sudden it just popped in his head what he wanted to do, and then it was all from there. He just made Happy. I think a lot of people dislike the song because it played a lot on the radio. Played a lot. Like everybody was playing that shit when it came out. And I feel like people just got so annoyed with it, but it was just such a great song to just vibe to and just chill and just relax and actually think about something that's just not negative. And just not in your face. It's just right there. And with him, the song, like he even talks about how he knew that, yeah, it was getting people happy, but he also knew why, because people have gone a lot of shit. A lot of people who love the song have gone through a lot of things, and it's helped them through really tough times. And I have to give a lot of credit to him for making that song. And even though, yes, it was a hit, even if it wasn't, I think like that's one of those songs where it's always going to be in your head because it's just so great.
Game changer.
But game changer of a song. And it's for a soundtrack of Despicable Me. If you haven't heard the Despicable Me soundtracks for at least 1 and 2, not sure about 3, but 1 and 2, like, dude goes hard on a lot of songs on there, and check them out because they're pretty fucking good.
There you go. I think I remember being in school, man, and just hearing it on the radio, and it just changed my mood every day going into school in college. Like it just changes your mood going into the gym. You just kind of want to jig. You just kind of want to dance. You know, you kind of want, you got a little pop in your step when you hear it. And it's awesome, man. Like the music sometimes that shit be like so grungy and so dark. And so sad. And then you hear this shit and you're like, yeah, maybe I don't want to fucking die today. Like maybe, you know, I can live.
Not today, son. Not today.
Not today, BB Jesus. Who the fuck is BB Jesus?
BB Jesus. That's a ghetto version of Baby Jesus.
Jesus. Jesus. Boy, you black as hell.
Give me that BB Jesus shirt right now.
That BB King Jesus.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I hope Burger King hears about this and they're just like, marketing.
Copyright.
We got this. Can we copyright the Bible? I think it's fine.
I know, it's fine. Yeah, so that song, man, I'm telling you, college was hard times. Dad's going through shit. I'm going through shit. And it's just nice to get something to wrap you in this warm bubble and to give you some soul. Shout out to creators like him, my guy, the different neurodivergent black folk, man, just giving people soul. And so, Spence, we see that where he starts to cry on Oprah when he talks about it, when they're showing all the people dancing.
Yeah.
I think that's a moment when you realize, you know, your music is more than what you just hear and the money that's coming in, because you know you're getting paid. But now you see the joy it's bringing around the world, all these countries jigging and have fun. And it's like, brother, that was an emotional moment for him. I love that we got to see that in a Lego set version. Magnificent. And I feel like that's what happens with a lot of folks, Spence, that go into like helping professions. They go into the teaching, healthcare, therapists, and you know, they're giving back to these communities and they see them affecting souls and they feel so good. Especially people that have been like horribly depressed, suicidal, right? People like me that have been outcasted, I'm a piece of shit, weird, autistic, not knowing it. And like, you'll never make it. And even to this day, my boss is, you'll never make it. You're not administrator, not smart enough, not professional enough. And like, it's like, shut up. And then you start changing these souls and it fucks you up, man. In the most magnificent way, you cry happy tears. And that's what we saw on Oprah, happy tears. I'm glad that he got that. And I'm hoping that a lot of you get that.
Yeah.
You know, Spence, sometimes people will be like, man, you know, I don't know if I'm a good person or this or that. And then we keep talking and we hear the lives that they've changed and or saved just by being like friends with like certain people. I'm like, brother, I think you've already changed a couple worlds just by being, and that's when everyone tanks. Everyone starts sobbing in that moment. I was like, 'cause people think that they're worthless.
Yeah.
But I'm like, go talk to your friends. And then they tell them how much worth they have. And then they bring it to me and I'm like, dude, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I don't think you really understand. He's like, that's not that big of a deal. I said, this will stop someone from wanting to die. Do you understand that? And everyone freaks out because they don't think about it like that. But a good friendship will make you want to live. A good partner like your girlie she makes you excited and joyful, and you plan things. It makes you build a future. Pharrell's music did that. I feel like a lot of you people will do that, whatever creative thing that you're doing. Like me and Spence, we got a bunch of different ways in which we show for our loved ones. I love that.
Yeah. I hope like,
go ahead.
I just like, I hope he had that same feeling when he was doing it for those other artists and even for himself. Like I know that he was really feeling it with this song. I also hope that he was feeling it
He should have.
for when, he was doing it for those other ones because he brought so much music. Like literally throughout this whole movie, I was like, this is my childhood because these songs did so much. He did Hollaback Girl for Gwen Stefani. Like that
Stop.
song, I'm not even kidding. He did
That
that
makes
song.
sense.
That was like
Think about the beat. It makes sense.
yeah. Like he has done so many songs from my childhood, and I love all of his music. Even NERD, like, is one of my favorite like groups of all time. When they started playing some of the songs from his albums on there that were like deep cuts that not a lot of people remember listening to, I was like, man, this fucking album's so good. I actually had to listen to the album again
Yeah.
because it was so good. Um, and it's so out there. And I hope he realizes that a lot of people have loved his music throughout the years. Him, Chad, everybody. Like I hope he understands that like their music has
Change
brought so
lives.
much happiness. And it's not just because of happy, but it's because of everything else that they've done throughout their careers. And I hope he realizes that.
Everything you just said, Spence, is what I say to clients. I hope you realize this one day that not just the one thing that you did when they fell down or they were crying or they were hurt, but all the ways in which you showed up for people or your family or your community or your hood. Hope you realize how much impactful that really means. Hope you realize how much your identity means to continue surviving. Everything you just said is exactly what I say to people. So that all of you listen to what Spencer said, but search your soul. And I hope you realize that the small things in which you've done mean a lot to you and others. Maybe just for your career, your life, your well-being, your family. So then you can be like, hey man, I'm from the mud, but I'm from the water, right? Well, now we're here. And we're safe and we're content and we can have money and buy shit, have vacations, eat healthy foods. All my clients, Nas, when is it going to change? A couple more years. I was just talking to a boy today. I said, maybe about 5 years. Finish your PhD in a couple years and you got a couple years of working. I said, no one will ever own you after this. Because your resume will be so stacked. If you hate a job, you'll be able to go anywhere in the world. As a PhD black man, the world is yours after this. You just got to get that first job, build your resume. And I love telling people that soon they will be unchained. World's wild, man. Love what you said, Spence. So we're going to pivot into something, and then we're going to get out of here. But we're going to pivot into some real shit with Kendrick Lamar and all this, and kind of how it ties into the wild shit that's going on right now in California, Spencer.
Yes. So during this time period, I want to say it was either 2013, 2015 when To Pimp a Butterfly came out. But this album by Kendrick Lamar, I just want to just flat out say this. It's one of my favorite albums of his of all time. Like it's so great just talking about being black in America. I probably played it for you in the car or something like that. And like it's one of those albums where you're like, this is huge. And I didn't know until like a few years ago that Pharrell even did the beat for All Right. I was like, I actually didn't know until this. No, I knew it before because I looked it up. But like when this movie came out and they started playing the clips, and it was like, oh yeah, his voice is on All Right. He was the one doing it gonna be all right. And then I was like, because it's one of my favorite tracks. And but during this time, it was when Trayvon Martin was killed, murdered, and a lot of these Black Lives Matter protests started happening. Actually, I want to say, I think it was in 2020. Unfortunately, Pharrell's cousin was actually murdered by police as well, and so I think it cut even deeper. Especially now that he has time to really even think about that and just process that in general, which that's not an easy thing to do. But for this song, he really took time to make a song that was for people that were struggling. And it's a song that people play to this day for protests, and then even for just trying to make sense of what's happening in the world. And just by saying it's we gonna be all right. When that hook comes in, you know exactly what it means, especially people of color. They know exactly what it means. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna make it through this no matter what. And it just goes to show that, you know, greatness just equals more greatness, because Pharrell giving this beat to Kendrick Lamar was something that I think really projected this song to be something amazing, which it is. So
Poetry for the community, for the struggle, for resilience, for existence is resistance. Like, you're not going to kill us. And maybe you do take our bodies, but people will continue to live and move on. It's the same type of vibe for Arabs now. It's the same type of vibe for brown people now in California. Is, you know, they try to exterminate you, and to exist, to continue moving on, continue to have joy and happiness instead of becoming this husk of an individual. I love that Pharrell was part of that. But him talking about the Black community and the pain and the word that he used, right, that I can't spell, the juxtaposition of being Black and how the world is positioned against you, right? It's not parallel, right? It's this against you, this intersection in which you exist, which makes it hard to live. And you can use this for other folks of color, other marginalized identities, queer, trans, and all that stuff. But like specifically focusing on Black folk, though, it is in effects and oozes throughout every single facet of your life, economically, politically, education-wise, all of it. Through genetic, all of it. It affects everything. And this is when we get into things like critical race theory. You know, we can't read about it anymore because they kicked it out of schools. But my dissertation was called critical disability theory, was just a subsection out of that theory, just for disabled folks. And so we see this, and so many people understand on how Blackness has changed their lives, but then so many other people will be like, it's fine, just work harder, or your lives aren't that bad, or you should be grateful. I'm like, motherfucker, people ain't got food or education. You tearing people's families apart. Like, you don't understand what has happened through the eons of this. Of these folks, this Black population, this generation. I had a student that was talking, man, I'm about to go Nat Turner on these motherfuckers, dog. I'm like, wait a minute, not Nat Turner. Google Nat Turner, people.
Nat Turner didn't survive.
Didn't survive. He cut up some folks though.
Yeah, and he was also eaten.
He was. Oh my God.
They made like leather shit out of his skin. It's terrible. Jeez. White people are terrible. I'm sorry. Like, a lot of those white people were terrible.
Back then, it was bad.
Yeah. It was bad, bro. It was bad.
Jesus, that's a tasty one.
Yeah.
So I said, wait a minute, you're not going full Turner. He said, no, man, brother was crazy. But like, hey, sometimes shit needs to be handled. And it's just saying that though, or knowing the story of like Nat Turner and that fucking trauma of being a slave and then starting a rebellion, an uprising of slaves against their masters. Well, who else is talking about that? White folk ain't talking about that. White folks weren't going through that. And so it's like...
Irish.
Oh, here we go.
Irish slaves, son.
Motherfuckers.
Irish slaves, son. We struggled.
Yep.
We had to assimilate, motherfucker.
Motherfucker, I can't tell who's Irish right now. I can tell who's Black, though. So I just love this. I love the Lego sets. I love everything about it. I really hope people listen to this and watch this, specifically with what's going on in LA is you're going to get these protests and you're going to get people speaking out and you're going to get some other wild shit at night too. But, you know, with this, the village, what do they say? The person that is unloved by the village, or the village that is, no, the person that is unloved or cared for by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. And it's very true. that the riots are the voices and the hatred of the unheard and unloved. You know, I'm not gonna say much on the topic because I ain't trying to get fucking certain things canceled for my nonprofit now because now it's a full thing. But don't condone violence. But also, I understand why these people are doing certain things, and also there's a lot of like good stuff that's going on. But I'll stay in that realm. My heart goes out with everyone that's out there, and all the people that's being affected, and everyone that's being deported. My heart goes out to everyone. So, thank you, Spence, for bringing this. It's a bad motherfucking hit right here, and just the poster right there of Pharrell, just so creative, so autistic. I love to see it. I love to see autistic joy. Or just neurodivergent joy, black joy. Love it. Love it, Spence.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone, go out. Go on Netflix. Go out Netflix. Go outside and just put it on your phone.
Touch grass.
There you go. Touch grass while you're watching this movie. Yeah. Go watch Piece by Piece on Netflix. It is a great story, and you'll probably really enjoy the music as in there as well. Because he didn't just do hip hop, he was doing everything. He literally did everything.
He did it all.
Yeah, it was crazy. But go please check out this movie. And thanks everybody for watching. I'm Spencer. That's Nas, Different Spencer Podcast.
All right, everyone. Much love. And remember, take care of yourselves.
Or don't.
It's completely up to you. Peace. Man, what button stops this shit?